I don't think a lot of people understand what people go through a lot of these days, because I sure get a lot of things, and this is just going to be a rant video. It's just going to be me talking. It's not going to be anything like, I'm not going to be your psychiatrist or therapist, so I don't know that much about things. But I'm going to tell you about how I feel and how I've gone through a lot of things and how I got through all that. So, when people say they feel depressed, being depressed can be one of two things. Either it's the disorder or just the general feeling of being depressed, but not actually having the disorder of being depressed. And of course, we all feel a little depressed sometimes. There's no going down on that. Like, we all just feel a little down sometimes, and that's not something that we can control sometimes. Sometimes you just have bad days. You'll just have those days where people just aren't really talking to you. You're losing a lot of income based on either medications or just bad circumstances. Rent is due, you forgot to pay this, so now it costs more. Prices are going up, like electricity, because of AI data centers like near you are being built, and they need a lot of like electricity to run, and the same with water, and the extreme heat that we're currently witnessing in the EU. It's kind of annoying. Remember, for those people who live in the EU, remember to drink lots of water. It's very important. But yeah, if we are talking about depression, I've been clinically diagnosed with severe depression for a few months now at this point. Like, I think like half a year. But I've always known I've had it. I tried going to the children's psychiatry when I was younger because I wasn't 18 yet, and they said they couldn't do much because I was under 18. There was a lot more, let's say, regulations that they needed to hold, which just meant the process was very long. So as someone with depression, I can tell you that is very annoying. It is not just it's not just you feeling sad or feeling empty. It's a lot more than just that. It's just an overall state of being that you just... It's not a lot, actually. It's mostly, instead of feeling incredibly sad, it's more like you feel nothing. And it can also derive from just having nothing. For example, the reason why I had mostly had depression was just because it's just how I am. I've always been just a loner because I've just always been that weird kid that always did the weird hobbies before it was popular. Like, I was into anime before it was popular. I was into video games before it was popular. Everyone looked down on me because they thought that is cringe and it's not cool. Everyone was doing their own thing, right? And I was always kind of laid to the side because I'm not as important, or I'm doing different things that nobody else is interested in. So but that didn't stop me though. I just kept doing what I love doing, and I love playing Pokemon. I love playing Minecraft. I love playing COD Zombies or Overwatch, or just about a lot of things. I played a lot of games, and it was just what I did. I had nobody else to do it with me because at that time it wasn't really popular. Nobody else had a console, and if they did, it was just a normal Nintendo Wii. And don't get me wrong, the Wii is fucking awesome. Like, Wii Sports is still like one of the best games of all time, and I know not many people will agree, but you gotta admit that back in the old days when you just had the Wii and you were over at a friend's place, it was like the best thing to like do, was just to either go outside and play or play Wii Sports. It was one of the most fun experiences one could ever have. But that aside, nobody really is together anymore. I feel like with more technology, more iPads, more everything's just more like technologic in a lot of ways, and everyone just has a phone. Nobody's like, have you ever gone outside, like gone to a bus stop, like go to a bus stop and go to like take a train somewhere, and what are people doing? They're sitting on their phones, or very occasionally they'll have their laptops out. But like nobody's just chilling. And I get that you just kind of need stimulus, but at the same time, like, it just feels alienating because I'm trying to detox by not using my phone, and it just feels like I'm the only one actually trying to just exist in the moment, and a lot of people are just glued to their phones doing whatever, and I feel you. I've been there too. It's a lot of dopamine you just get instantly by just scrolling TikTok or something. And I gotta blame that also to AirPods because it makes it so much easier. I have a pair. It's so amazing. The easiest way to just have instant stimulus is just to have some white noise in the background. Be it, you don't even have to pay attention. That's how I feel, at least. Like, that's why I always go outside with my AirPods. I'm just listening to music, but it's not like I'm not listening to the music. It's just to have something, like in the background. And I feel like that's an issue with a lot of people, that they just can't have that attention. Like, they need the constant stimulus. And I feel like I'm the only one existing because everyone else is just glued to their phones. And I just want to exist. I want to talk to people. I used to be a very shy person, very socially awkward, very bad at speaking to other people. But over time, I just became more social. I loved doing what I did, and talking to people was just really fun. And I'll never take that away from me, because talking to people definitely increases my energy. I don't know how it's with other people. I know some people, it's like when you talk to someone, you kind of lose energy for the day, and then you're like, oh, I've used all my energy, I can't do anything anymore today. But then there's me, where I get energy by just talking to people. But in this current landscape, I feel like nobody is willing to talk, so it feels kind of also lonely. And I'm also struggling with loneliness at the same time, of depression. Like, sure, there's like a billion people online that are just willing to talk willy-nilly, and at any given point in time, it can be whenever it is your time zone. Everyone is awake at every time because of time zones. And but it just doesn't feel the same. It really just doesn't. I feel like it's kind of lonely just existing. I wish that like people would definitely be more observant on each other's surroundings, because it feels like that we're kind of losing each other in a way. And I don't think I'm the only person who thinks this. I think we're all kind of realizing that we're kind of losing each other as we go on. And it's kind of sad. I kind of wish we went back to the times where social media was just a fun little place you would go to sometimes, instead of it being the end-all be-all situation that it is now. Right now, it's just, if you aren't famous, if you aren't getting the clicks, then you're a loser. And yeah, like, if you're not hip, if you're not following the current trend, you're a loser, and you are just not cool, and therefore people don't want to be with you. And the same thing can be said to people who just kind of have nothing, because then they just think that their entire life is social media, and they'll just be on their phone. They'll constantly make videos, they'll make YouTube posts, they'll make anything to make sure that they get the clicks, they get the value, because then they feel something. But the thing is, that isn't real value. You aren't really talking to anyone. It's all just artificial numbers and digits. It's a nothing burger. And I wish we kind of got away from that, because I see a lot of parasocial people that really treat as if the social media is just the life to live. Everyone wants to be Mr. Beast. Everyone wants to be an influencer. Back in the days, like in the 2010s, it was kind of cool to be like, nobody was an influencer, but there was just a few certain people that were just popular, and they just did what they love. Some people were like vlogging, just talking about their day, and some people loved just listening in. And then some enjoyed gaming videos where they watched someone else play. It was really fun to see like their like reaction on things. And now it's just, it feels like everyone's dopamine receptors is kind of just gone, because we just expect a constant stimulus of dopamine at all times. So we all just become endless like zombies, and that kind of feels bad, doesn't it? Like, imagine you just exist and you just lose everything, but at least you have social media, right? But where do you go with that? Social media isn't really, it can't fulfill your entire life's duties. It just can't. You can pretend all you want that all your followers mean something, when in reality you're still just as lonely as you were before. Like, you can have 10,000 followers and still be lonely. It doesn't require much, but it's just sad a little bit. I feel like we all should definitely try and detox a little more, because I feel like we're just kind of becoming zombies, and it's not fun. Like, I know we all make fun of like old people being like so mindless with technology. They have no idea what's happening, what's going on. Maybe that's honestly for the best, because like that's the life that I think we should live. A life where we aren't like, we aren't controlled by the technology around us. But today we are. And it just feels lonely, because when everyone else is focusing on their social media and they aren't trying to live in the moment. I saw this one person who had no friends IRL, like none at all, and they had thousands of followers on Twitter and TikTok, and they were a big influencer, but they had no friends. I spoke with them, and I'm not gonna say their name, but they had like over 10k followers, and they felt like nobody was there, because truly nobody is. You can have so many followers, you think you have a whole stadium of like 10,000 people all cheering for you and they're with you, but the real answer is that they aren't. They're not there. You might think that you're like with a lot of people, but in reality you're just as lonely as you were before. And yeah, that's why I'm at least trying to live in real life, because it's not worth trying to live in a world that doesn't exist. There's no reason to try and be an internet influencer when I know that's just not who I am. And me existing is not gonna change anything. And I hope that at some point we can just all learn to grow up and just exist as people, not as like artificial numbers you see online. Because at some point you start realizing that it all meant nothing. And trust me, I know what it means to not feel anything, because I deal with depression. I feel a lot of nothing, but at the same time I feel a lot of stuff at the same time. It's not fun. It really isn't. But let's see what else we have. There's a lot of loneliness in our society right now, and I'm going to blame social media for that, but enough about that. I'm a trans person. Some of y'all probably already knew that. I'm a trans woman. I've been transitioning for a few years now. Started HRT in September last year, in 2025. And I've just kind of been focusing on myself. I've started to take care of myself, eat better, healthier, and just take the sleep that I need and just relax. It's honestly so healthy to just let yourself exist. Otherwise, you're going to rot because you're not giving yourself the attention that you deserve. Like, think about it. If you're giving everyone else attention and you're ignoring yourself, then what are you gaining out of it? Sure, you might feel better because, you know, you're helping other people, but you're also a person. You deserve also people to help you out. And that's not really something you can do when you're like me, when you're a trans person, when you're already in a predicament of just looking not the part. And I know a lot of people say I pass. I post sometimes pictures on my Twitter, and I'm pretty self-conscious about it. And I do get called she, her in real life. Even by random strangers, they say young madam. I look the part, but I'm still conscious about it, like self-conscious about it. But it's a lot of pain to go through all of that just to not feel at home, as one could say, I guess. I feel pretty sad pretty much every time of the day. I wake up, I just start up my computer, I look at Twitter, I think about what I'm gonna do today, if I have work or not, or any assignments I need to do, and I just do them out, and I eat a little bit, and I then focus on not eating because I'm trying to get like a better figure. I'm not fat and not in the slightest, but I just want a better figure for myself. And a lot of people are saying like you're extremely skinny and like you need some more meat on them bones, and I'm like, sure, like the scale might say something different, but I feel different enough to feel like I want to remove more from my body because I feel like less is more, and just being more observant of who I am is a lot of work because I'm just trying to, I'm just trying to live, and it's kind of hard when you constantly look down on yourself. You experience body dysmorphia just like so often, and you just don't like how you look at all. You could have dysphoria over your voice, and I wish that's something I could change. Voice training is something I went to. It's just too hard for me, but I know everyone can do it. I highly recommend anyone who is trans, like, if you want, you can do voice training. If you're female to male, then you probably don't need to think about it too much because testosterone is going to deepen your voice naturally. But female to male have a particularly hard time because it's very difficult, because you've already gone through puberty once. It's already changed your vocal cords, and it's kind of over at that point. You can get surgery, but it's not going to help you that much. You still need training, which is kind of the sad part, because I feel like even if I just want to be who I am, it's never going to be enough. And I fear that sometimes I won't ever be enough, because when I think about my achievements in life, I've been super high rank in Overwatch. I've played professionally for a few years. I was a professional Fortnite player, Overwatch player. I had really good grades. I was primarily more of like a natural studies student. I got high grades in like math and physics, chemistry, that type of stuff, right? But not ever like, let's say like I didn't get high grades in stuff like geography because I didn't really care for it, or even Danish because I can speak the language and I can spell every word, it's fine, but I just don't care for the study of it. But I'm just always like more of a nerdy kid, a nerdy person. I like doing a lot of the, let's just say like natural science, because that will cover everything, and that includes math. I did a lot of math and was very excited about it, and it was different. And I met a lot of different people, people who weren't like me exactly. And it kind of sucks knowing that you're in a field where nobody's like you. And it kind of sucks. Because I've thought every nerdy person would at least have some sort of hobby, but turns out that everyone I met, at least, they just kind of were the same people over and over again. And let me tell you, Danish people are so fucking annoying. There's just no like commonality at all. We do not like jive in any way. They're all kind of like, let's say, tourists, because they don't actually care about what they're saying they care about. Like it's kind of funny when you think about it, because everyone that like thought, oh my god, I'm such a nerd, I'm so into like Pokemon, oh my god, I'm like a gamer, I have like a Nintendo Switch. It's like everyone is trying to be a tourist of something they weren't a part of, and I don't understand why. Maybe it's like to feel more included because they weren't in the know. But it just feels alienating that everything that I did is what everyone wants to do now, because now they think it's cool. But back then, people forgot that people were being bullied for it, like every single day in school or anything. People forget about that, and it's kind of annoying. It's definitely alienating when you just want to be yourself, and everyone just says that's stupid, nobody wants to do that. And then here we are, like 20 years later, and now everybody wants to do it. Now everyone thinks it's the cool thing to do. But it just kind of sucks. Like, why is it that I need to feel like, why I had to get bullied for so long for something I liked, and then immediately right after I get bullied, when the damage already been caused, then suddenly it's cool to do. And I'm not as cool, because if I start nerding out on them, then they're like, oh, I'm not actually that deep into it. I just feel like everyone's a tourist and nobody actually cares about anything. Unless you talk about like really basic stuff like football or something. Everyone's gonna be like, oh yeah, I watched today's game, yeah. But like, it's not fun. It's really not fun. And yeah, back to the depression and loneliness point. It's kind of sad, because I know a shit ton of people who definitely want to talk to me, but I just don't have the energy to talk to anyone as well. So I get two things. I get people who don't want to talk to me, and I get people who do want to talk to me but not on my terms. And it just leaves to a lot of people thinking that I don't care about them. I've had multiple people leave me just because I apparently didn't value our friendship, and I was the person who always like texted back immediately. I always replied the first second that someone sent me a DM, and I'm not doing that anymore to protect myself. And now people are like, oh, so you don't care about me. That's not what I'm saying at all. But people are unironically thinking that I don't care anymore. And you know how much that hurts me? Because all I do is care. That's all I do. I care too much, in fact. Because all I can ever do is just be myself, and I'm not allowed to do that when people think that I'm using them or something. I don't know. I don't really know where I'm going with this point. I just feel like I'm being used, because they know I'm always an option, because I'm always there, but no one actually cares about me. I don't really know how to explain it, but I'm pretty sure you get what I mean. But a thing you could do if you are in a really bad spot, something I did at least, was I started just taking care of myself. And a lot of people say I'm pretty. I don't agree with that, but I'm not going to like argue about it. So when I just took care of myself, I focused on my looks, I focused on my weight and how I look, and I focused on what's fun for me and what's healthy for me. So I started taking walks outside, and I got a lot of steps in, and that was really fun. It's just putting in your earbuds and just listening to something. Just white noise. Doesn't have to be much. Just anything. And that's honestly really therapeutic for me, at least. It was pretty fun. And I still do to this day. It's very therapeutic. I highly recommend just going outside, because there's a lot of things outside that is just really awesome. Like, there's a lot of things we miss out on just because we aren't, you know, we aren't as outside as much anymore as we was. But one thing that really helped me was going outside, getting fresh air, seeing things from a fresh perspective, I guess. I kind of, let me say it like this. I kind of just went alone. I always do things alone. Nobody ever helps me out, so I just do things alone. And you know what? Maybe some things are better done alone. And if I focus on myself, then I could become a better person. So I don't need anybody. It is still sad that nobody wanted to be there for me, but you know, there is not much I can do about that. I definitely wish that we all could be more together, but I did realize that, like, at some point nobody really wanted to be with you, and that's kind of lonely. There's not much I can do about that, though. If someone doesn't want to be with me or like be friends with me, that's honestly fine. It's not something I can control. That's your life, not mine. But I just want to be with someone. And I recently lost my boyfriend, and that kind of sucked. Like, I had the most insane breakup ever. It was really sad, and I really wish it didn't happen at all, but it did. So yeah, it is what it is. But enough about that, though. Like, I'm just kind of ranting. I don't really know what the title's gonna be. I don't even know what I'm talking about anymore. I just feel like I'm kind of alone in this mess, and it feels pretty alienating knowing that some people will forever think of me as a person who I'm not. And that kind of sucks, but it is what it is, I guess. Because I know that's not who I am. And I have been struggling with a shit ton of issues for way over a decade now. Like, ever since I was like 8 years old. Maybe, probably younger. I've had other things there. But I've had a lot of issues. And a lot of people just think of it as, even if you were very young, you still have to pay for it. And I did pay for it. I did a lot of dumb things. Like, I think we all made dumb decisions and we all said dumb things when we were younger that we obviously regret today. But I think it is kind of idiotic as well that we let people define others. Like, I'm not defined by who I once was when I was a minor. That's not who I am today. I think it's idiotic to think that way. But we all can change. Unironically, we all can change as people. We're all just normal people. And we should just change. Because change is good. So, yeah. with that out of the way, I think we should definitely start thinking of ourselves more. And I know nobody will probably listen like to these messages, videos, whatever, but I wanted to say something at least. Because a lot of people online are just very bad people, disguising themselves to be good people because they're running from themselves. But in order to be a better person, you need to confront yourself and make up for what you did. A lot of people are just kind of sandbagging on top of each other and just kind of collecting themselves into like a hate mob, but like a terrible one. Like, I'm sure everyone has seen it. If you're on like social media, you will get jumped for nothing. Everyone will get cancelled for nothing. And it just is what it is. And unfortunately, I was also a case of this, but again, it is what it is. I didn't let it impact me. I still exist, you know? I'm not gonna disappear just because I got cancelled over being a person who I was pretty much a decade ago. That's not who I am now. Everyone who's been near me knows that's not who I am. It's kind of just idiotic and parasocial of people to think that, you know, that we're still the same people we once was. It's just kind of, it is what it is, I guess. But I think everyone needs a deep self-reflection of themselves and needs to think, what can I do to be a better person for tomorrow? Because what I do is, I think, what can I do to improve myself today so I'll be better tomorrow? I do that, and over the course of many years, I've just become a better person. It's honestly as simple as that. It's not much more simpler than that. And I think overall just the internet is stupid. But yeah. We shall see what happens. But yeah, anyways. Love you guys, and I'll probably see y'all later. Goodbye and have a good day.